When Red Bull joined the sport in 2005, they were looked at as the party team and a joke. An energy drink company joining the sport that had some cool tricks, did some insane stunts, and made some very cool videos, let's be honest. Most drivers and teams didn't really care too much about the brand joining and really thought nothing much of them. But as we look down the line, 20 years later, this is the most successful team of the decade, getting 124 victories, more than Ferrari with 123 and Mercedes with 121. Keep in mind they joined in 2005. And under Christian Horner, who was the team principal from the start up until now, 405 races, 287 podiums, 107 poles, 124 wins, 8 drivers' championships, and 6 constructors' championships for the Red Bull team. But the once unstoppable Formula One team has fallen pretty badly, losing some key members and now starting the downfall of a once pretty dominant force. They've slipped to 4th in 2025, and really the decline of the team has been quite surprising for everybody. I don't think we've seen anything fall apart so quickly in the sport like Red Bull has in the past couple of years. But there's a lot to unpack here. Why has the team fallen so hard and why it continues to really struggle? It's more than just Christian Horner. If you're new here, please go ahead and subscribe. It would mean the world to me on the road to 100K. Thank you all so much for supporting the channel. Let's talk about Red Bull's downfall. I think it's fair to say that in 2022, when Dietrich Mateschitz's death happened, that was kind of the start of Red Bull really losing its cool and it not being the same team that it was when Dietrich first brought it into the sport. Now let me tell you, without him, we wouldn't have the Red Bull team, we wouldn't have Christian Horner and everybody else that's been brought there. Because whether or not you see Red Bull as the villains of the sport, they are very cool and they've done a lot to really bring up this sport in a much better light for a lot of people.
Yeah, it's very tough for us in the team and also for myself. But also, of course, what he has meant for me personally, but also for the whole team. I think for whole of F1 as well, his commitment and love for the sport.
He was the visionary that really turned a struggling Jaguar team into an F1 juggernaut. And as soon as he passed away, it left a void really within the whole team. Max was one of the first people to speak about this being quite the loss for Red Bull, because the guy himself had a very hands-off style, which empowered both Horner and Helmut Marko to build a winning team, winning machines. As soon as he passed, the company was split up, 51% to the Thai shareholder Sharlam Yovidia and 49% to Mateschitz's son Mark. Now with this split happening, tensions were very high and Horner went one way, Helmut Marko went the other. Horner ended up being backed by the Thai shareholder, pushed for more control, while clashing with Marko and Mark, and Max was also on this side. That's very important to note. And obviously with all the controversy that was happening in 2024, Horner really had a sword over his neck pretty much post Mateschitz the whole time. The team had the most dominant season of all time, almost winning every single race in 2023, winning 21 of 22, but this was hiding the cracks of a foundation that was shaky. Of course, what continued this downfall after Mateschitz was a lot of key members leaving the team. Rob Marshall was a chief designer that left for McLaren, and clearly the guy has put a lot of very good ideas together and made this unstoppable MCL 39. When he was talked about being in the Red Bull team, he was always pushing the limits to front wings flexing, very innovative on design, and another key guy over there just like Adrian Newey. Now with that being said, Adrian Newey is the designer that has made the most dominant cars of all time and has won by himself the most constructor championships altogether. The legend in May 2024 ended up joining Aston Martin, and really his cars defined Red Bull's success. But without Christian Horner, we never would have gotten Adrian Newey. He was the main guy that got him to this team. Adrian Newey had his ups and downs in the start, but ever since then, he was always making the most aerodynamically efficient cars. It was a big guy to lose and a big loss for a team that was already kind of spiraling out to lose this big of a guy. Now, 3 months later, they also end up losing Jonathan Wheatley, which was the sporting director for the team, moved to Audi, and as you can already see, the guy is a team principal, and Nico himself has now gotten a podium under the eyes of Jonathan Wheatley. He was very important for the team whenever those decisions came down to penalties, and we knew Max to obviously be controversial, and in general, the Red Bull team he was pushing a lot and made a lot of very good decisions in very tense moments. And believe it or not, a sporting director plays a big contributing factor to the team if they do a good job in those very tense moments with the FIA. Knowing the rule book is a huge thing in Formula One. And I'm not just talking about the cars, I'm talking about these regulations in the whole sporting avenue. These 3 losses themselves was already big enough. It gutted Red Bull's edge. Now we see McLaren and Ferrari have overtook them. And yes, Max does end up putting the car into P1 sometimes in qualifying, but it's clearly not the same Red Bull team that reigned so dominant in 22 and 23. I don't think we're going to see really that dominant of a 22 and 23 season again, like we did with the Red Bull team that had these 3 key members. And as we see now, the car's performance is dipping and it seems to be going in a terrible trajectory. We've already heard a lot about 2026 being a big struggle for the team, and before his departure, Christian Horner himself said it would be crazy to expect Red Bull to actually be in front of Mercedes or Ferrari or even that Honda engine for 2026. But easily the breaking point for the Red Bull team is now announcing Christian Horner not being the team principal of the team, somewhat still being employed, but really ending that era of Red Bull, which has been the only era of Red Bull that we know of, because he was the guy from the start, team principal, led them to multiple world championships, multiple driver championships, and was loved by many. Yes, a very controversial character. A lot has been said about him in recent times. I don't really want to go into the politics of it. I just want to talk about what he's done, because he's probably one of the best team principals, if not the best of all time, when you look at it from a sporting aspect. It's crazy how quickly they ended up dropping him in the middle of the season, quite traditional for Red Bull themselves. But the guy was so important for the success that was really brought to this team. When the rumors all started in 2024, it was shocking they actually kept Horner, because most people thought they should have kicked him out. Those allegations were very serious. And important members that are not part of the team, like Max Verstappen, who plays a big role in obviously Max's life and really him in Formula One, said the team would explode under Horner. They still ended up winning in 2024, even if they didn't have the best car, probably by race 6 or 7, and it actually made Jost tone down a little bit. But now in 2025, it seems to be a combination of factors. Picking bad team members like Perez, who ended up getting a contract extension, even though most of the team members didn't feel like it was very deserved for Sergio to get that contract extension. Liam going into the team, kicking him out after 2 races, and now obviously Yuki is struggling big time. But it's not even just that. It was Pierre Gasly, Alex Albon. Really, the only guy that put up a good fight against Max was Daniel Ricciardo. But it's kind of weird to put the blame on Horner when the guy that actually ends up picking these and really is the main guy to find this talent is Helmut Marko. But Helmut Marko picked his side, and these 2 sides were fighting constantly. So if the team was struggling like in 2025, it was the perfect time to strike for the opposing side to really get him out of there. It was also said that Horner pushed Marko to decide to focus on the costly Red Bull powertrains project, which he questioned obviously for the 2026 performance. This lost him a lot of support. They only have 2 wins this season, a little bit more poles because of Max being Max, but the car just isn't there. In race pace, the McLaren is so much faster, it's not even really a close battle. Pushing aside the guy that really led the team to a dominant period and then losing that edge, which always happens, any team that is dominant eventually will fall. We saw it with Mercedes. After really 2021, the team hasn't really won too many races, and they ended up losing a big guy like Lewis Hamilton from the team. Now this might shift in 2026, but that is normal. Dominant teams fall, but they don't get brought back up a lot of times like Christian Horner has done. From the Vettel era to then the Max Verstappen era, he's done a phenomenal job. It's a very questionable decision to throw him out like this, but there is a guy on that team that has made the difference in the past really 4 or 5 years, if not longer, Max Verstappen, that I think plays a big part of the future of Red Bull. Obviously, a lot has been thrown out to question, will Max move to Mercedes? Now, these started as rumors not too long ago. It's been made a much bigger thing in the past couple of weeks. We saw that huge press conference with Max getting swarmed, something that he definitely loves. And with his father obviously questioning Horner being on the team, Max was also probably on that same side saying, you know what? I don't know if Horner should be part of the team. Now, there's 2 things here that could happen. Either they ended up actually losing Max, he is going to move to the Mercedes team, or it was Max that wanted him out of the team. It's one or the other, and we truly don't know. But just having that conflict in itself is another contributor to the downfall. He could go to Mercedes, he could go to Aston Martin. Having these sparks when the team won 4 championships in a row isn't something that's needed for them. It would cost about $120 million just to take him out of the team. As his contract runs to 2028, it's a very big payoff. And that's probably unlikely to be met, but I'm more on the side of thinking that Max wanted him out of here, so now he can stick with the team. The exit itself might actually ease tensions with Jos, but Red Bull has an unproven 2026 engine, so it's very possible that in that next season, he ends up leaving. Max wants titles or wins. He'll go to whatever team gives it to him. All of the best drivers do. It's a very normal thing that's going to happen. Lewis did it going from McLaren to Mercedes. It wouldn't shock me. Max is still very young, even crazy to say that, but he is. So it's only normal to look for the teams that will be the best. He will know that after the 2026 season. So yes, the team has a chance, but as of the looks of it right now, I think 26 is going to be even worse than the current 25 season we're seeing. The team itself is facing a reckoning. The death of the owner in 2022 sparked really a cascade of chaos, key exits, internal battles, and now Horner leaving the team in quite a sudden way. It was so shocking to even see the reports, really in the mid of the season. And now they're left vulnerable. I'd love to hear your thoughts down in the comments below. Do you believe that Red Bull can actually make it out of this? It's going to be tough. They lost a lot of ammunition they used to have. So let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Please leave a like, subscribe. It would mean the world. And peace.